Mary, SPD says the reckoning they've been warning about for over a year about staffing shortages and response times is now coming true. Seattle police warned this is exactly what would happen. Response times getting longer for certain crimes with the mass exodus of nearly 300 officers.
This attrition is concerning, and when we look at 911 response times as well.
Today, the Seattle City Council Public Safety Committee taking notice during their discussions on the SPD quarterly finance and staffing report.
The agency has reduced its costs by about $13 million and saved a lot of general fund. Most of this is due to the departure of the officers and salary savings.
I've talked to the mayor and police chief about the consequences of the defund SPD movement.
And I said it before, if you tell a group of employees that half of them are going to lose their job, it's not surprising that people would leave.
Even today, a court monitor said police staffing levels and the delayed response times are threatening the police reforms a federal judge overseeing the consent decree wants to see.
What we can't do is starve the organization so much that they cannot actually do community policing.
But City Council is blaming SPD for their own staffing problems and response times. They say SPD can save $15 million from the salaries of people leaving.
The council fully funded the hiring plan as proposed by the mayor's office.
Despite that, SPD says it's been tough recruiting and retaining officers in the city's divisive political climate.
On a scale of negative 100 to positive 100, how strongly would you endorse a friend or family member coming to work where you work? SPD is negative 50, which is bad.
Can you back off, sir?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You never know what type of threat lingers around the King County Courthouse.
Mace me.
All right, we'll call the sheriffs and have them come
I'm doing
and talk to
nothing
you.
wrong, ma'am.
Today, it's a man holding a rake and leaf blower, harassing people on the sidewalk. Tomorrow, it could be someone far more menacing.
I've come across people with weapons. I've come across verbal threats of my life.
And this King County security guard who wants to remain anonymous.
I'm concerned for retaliation by upper management in the county.
Says they face dangerous situations every day, but are only allowed to carry pepper spray and wear a bullet-resistant vest on the job.
We deal with an environment that most law enforcement officers have said they would not do unless they were armed.
He says the men and women who guard the county buildings in downtown Seattle are vulnerable and far more at risk than ever before.
How can I effectively protect the judge when I don't have tools to defend myself or defend them?
There is no doubt safety conditions are deteriorating around the county properties they're supposed to help protect.
I ain't on my meds right now. I'm ready to kick some.
Like the courthouse, which is right next to a notorious homeless encampment being blamed for some of these security concerns. Recently, a woman was also assaulted and nearly raped inside the courthouse bathroom.
The hostility level is going higher. We're starting to see more aggressive behavior from the people in the neighborhood.
Some other members of the King County Security Guards Union say they did carry batons and handcuffs several years ago, but those tools were taken away by policymakers at the Facilities and Management Division, the agency responsible for maintaining county buildings. And FMD is refusing to give them back.
This has been an ongoing issue. This has been going on several years.
We tried for more than a week to reach FMD Director Anthony Wright and Deputy Division Director Aaron Burt for an explanation. So far, no response. Instead, their spokesperson says the policy was created by FMD senior leadership. This has always been standard FMD policy. Adding, since FMD security personnel are not sworn law enforcement officers, they have no more authority to use such weapons in an incident than any other private citizen.
I'm going to put out a request that we have an immediate change.
King County Council member Kathy Lambert is concerned about FMD's explanation and says she's learned agency leaders actually took away these tools because of liability reasons.
And it was because they were afraid that they could be used against the officers.
Lambert says she made a few calls and also discovered this.
I understand that we have 60 batons that are just sitting someplace, and they should be out immediately.
Along with batons, she's now calling for security guards to have handcuffs, Narcan, and first aid kits.
What do you want to say to these security guards who are afraid to speak up?
Speak up. The rest of the employees have also spoken up.
What do you want?
Last week, hundreds of county employees and their supporters took to the streets, demanding improved safety in and around the county buildings.
And I will not walk around the perimeter of this courthouse or anywhere near here after dark.
If requested, the guards are also responsible for escorting county employees, including public defenders and judges like Suzanne Parisian, who says she's in favor of bringing back batons and handcuffs.
And I love the idea of extra non-lethal weapons.
Are you aware that the security guard only carries pepper spray?
I just found that out from him.
What more has to happen?
And now even more county workers are also asking the same questions.
If he's being attacked, how is he protecting me?
I have to use my de-escalation tactics, and if I need to, use my can of pepper spray.
For now, the security guard says they will always do their best with what they've got. But at some point, they want to know who's looking out for them.
What would you like to personally tell the decision makers?
I would tell them to get out of their cubicle, come down to where we are, work with us for a shift. I'm tired of policymakers that don't know the job.
From Seattle, Jonathan Cho, KOMO News.
Mary, this homeless camp has been the site of brutal attacks and even a murder in recent months. Now, though, a group called Just Care is making headway and hopefully can get the park to be a safe place once again. The trucks that rolled up at City Hall Park to clear away some of the tents and trash follow weeks of outreach by Just Care, an organization Seattle City Councilmember Andrew Lewis says is key to the city's homeless response.
This is how progress is going to look with a lot of the encampments that have been problematic in the city.
Lewis says about 24 people were moved into hotel rooms that include on-site services for mental illness or drug addiction. Just Care says they were ready to make the move weeks ago, but city politics got in the way.
Well, the pace picked up on August 1st when the city, for the first time, paid into Just Care.
The city council approved $12 million earlier this year for outreach programs like Just Care, but the money is just now getting out the door. Just Care has been criticized for its cost and the length of time these operations can take. Lewis says it's worth it.
But the important thing is that it gets done, and it gets done once and for all.
Still, dozens of people remain, as do safety concerns at the courthouse, especially after a homeless man was charged with trying to rape a woman in a courthouse bathroom. Now, many are looking to see if Just Care is that long-sought solution.
We need to figure out how can we scale a response and approach like that for these other encampments around the city.
The killing of a teenager here gained notoriety because the Pierce County Sheriff's Office says it could not use a canine unit because of the new laws. Well, today an arrest was made in the shooting death of 16-year-old Franklin Kiraba, also goes by the name of Franklin Tanaga. The Sheriff's Office says another 16-year-old was arrested at his home nearly 2 weeks after it happened. Members of the Washington Coalition for Police Accountability came to the site of Franklin's death. Many have lost loved ones to police. They came here to highlight what they claim are police agencies not doing their job in protest to new police reform laws.
Law enforcement has done everything in their power to undermine our efforts by encouraging their departments not to respond to calls at all. Officers are mocking our moments of trauma to make a political point.
But police groups say that's not the case. They're just trying to live within the new laws and hoping changes can be made in the upcoming legislative session in January.
And part of why we're looking for greater clarity from the Attorney General and potentially a legislative fix when they reconvene.
One of the fixes could be allowing officers to once again use less than lethal beanbag shotguns, which the new laws prohibit. The Cowlitz County SWAT team said it had to use rocks in a bucket instead to break into a house and bring the suspect out.
I think there is a realization, at least by some Democrats, that they made a mistake in that area. But we'll see if that leads to a change in the policy come next session.
I acknowledge also that there may be some ambiguities in the law. Any major reform inevitably needs refinement and clarification in the subsequent legislative sessions.
Keith Eldridge, KOMO News.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Johnson from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and all of Western Washington. And don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.